Today on The Big Story, we discuss the Singapore economy's slowdown and whether it will get better soon. Self-driving vehicles are coming to your neighbourhood if you live in the West. And finally, 2 in 3 maids here have their services terminated early. Why is that and what can be done? Hello and welcome to The Big Story, where we talk about the hottest topics of today right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Kimberly Jiao, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. We're going to talk about the Singapore economy today. Over the past 2 days, we have several stories that say that all is not well. This morning, the Manpower Ministry released figures to show that overall unemployment has crept up in the third quarter to its highest level since 2009. The unemployment rate in September went up by 0.1% to 2.3%. Just yesterday, the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, projected that Singapore's growth for this year will fall sharply from the 2.3% it had forecasted to just 0.5%. But it wasn't all bad news. Also today, the Monetary Authority of Singapore's Managing Director, Ravi Velloor, said in an interview with Bloomberg that he thinks Singapore's economic slowdown may be nearing its end. With me now is ST's Associate Editor, Ravi Velloor. He's here to help us get a clearer picture of the economy's health. So hi Ravi. So despite this unemployment rate, creeping up and like IMF's projection of this meager 0.5% growth, why is Mr. Menon still so optimistic that the slowdown is sort of nearing its end?
Mm-hmm. Let's unpack your question a little bit,
sure.
Or 3 questions that you put to me. To begin with, the labour numbers. Mm-hmm. Yes, the headline numbers look alarming. But what we forget is the number of jobs that are also being created. It happens that at this point of time, there is a mismatch between the available labour supply and the demand out there for the kind of jobs that are coming up. And that is leading to this number. By the way, many finance ministers would give their right arm to have these unemployment numbers. They're not that bad, but it's just that in our context, they look a little dire. About the IMF itself, what the IMF has done by talking about 0.5% growth for the Singapore economy this year, they have essentially just aligned their numbers with the Singapore government's own forecast, which is 0 to 1% growth this year. So there is a bit of an alignment there, true. They cut their figures from what they put out in April. So if you look beyond the numbers, basically I wouldn't say there's anything to be that alarmed.
Okay.
And what Mr. Menon said in his interview to Bloomberg, I would go beyond the Wire report and go to his actual video interview, which is on the Bloomberg site if you care to look at it. And, every central banker has 2 roles to perform. First, he is a watchdog for the local economy. He's a regulator. But he's also a watchtower for the local economy. And in this case, what Mr. Menon has done is to look beyond the numbers, looked around the region, and gave what probably was a rather cautiously optimistic point of view. It's not substantially different from what the MAS or the government has been saying all along, but it's still nice to hear it from the central bank chief that there are prospects of a recovery that could lie ahead in a quarter or 2 quarters. Yeah.
I see. So what factors are you sort of looking out for to show that the economy is, indeed on its way to recovery?
Look, our current problems are really in 2 sectors.
Okay.
And they are precision engineering, which is, and electronics. Now, if we can fix these 2 sectors, some of our troubles will go away because our services sector, which is the biggest part of our economy, is still doing all right. In fact, it's pretty strong. Now, always there are 2 issues that come up when there is a point about exports, which is really dragging us down. And one is demand, and the other is how efficient and competitive you are in manufacturing vis-a-vis your peers and your rivals. Now, on the demand side, we've been affected by the Chinese slowdown that's been going on for actually a few years, a few quarters. It's been coming down, the numbers have been down. India has been in a funk. The Indian economy has been in a bit of a funk. And the Indonesian economy, which is the other big economy in our neighborhood, has been chugging along at about 5% growth. Now, that has been made worse by the trade war between the United States and China. That has dragged down external demand.
Right.
Now, at this point, we are seeing signs that there could be some improvement in that geopolitical risk, which is the US-China issue. That's a sign of some comfort to us. Maybe in the next week, we might hear even better news on that score. So that's something to be positive about. And as the external demand improves, we must realize that we're not in a bad spot. The World Economic Forum just called us the most competitive economy in the world. The World Bank this morning rated us the second, number 2 for ease of doing business, and just behind New Zealand. When the upturn comes, I think we'll be in a good position to ride the upturn, provided we also skill up internally to be positioned to take advantages of the opportunities that are arising in the new kind of industries that are coming up.
I see.
So that's the outlook.
I see. So it all remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We don't truly know yet, but we will see. And thanks so much for sharing with us your insights today. And if you'd like to read this full article, do head on to our website, that's straitstimes.com.